How's it going, guys? Emmy Ivy here, and I want to welcome you to Stanley Parable. I didn't want to play Gmod again, and I so happened to have the Stanley Parable, and I think I've only played it once. Maybe seen people play it once, and it's a game with a bunch of different endings, so I thought it'd be fun. Yay! It's got a lot of choices, and a lot of the endings are weird and different, and I thought I'd play it, because why not? If I'm not mistaken, they were gonna bring it to console. They announced it at like E3 or something like that. That they were like, we're gonna bring it to the console with new levels. And I've not heard anything since then. Or it already came out on console with new levels, and I'm stupid, but I don't know. Let's see.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
I mean, I think you should have the option to read the story of a girl.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
You know what? No, I'm gonna stay in here. What you gonna do now? What are you gonna do now? Now what, Mr. Narrator? This is gonna be really boring if I don't do anything. Fine, I'll leave the office.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Out of the... Oh. What happened? What happened? What happened? What? No! You just reset me like that. I guess I found it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
That looks like a trace. See that? That's a trace. That's a trace. So this game came out a while back, but it's I can't post it. I want backwards. I want backwards to do everything. Oh look, it's another trace. Click. Save power for the company so I can get a raise and a promotion. Click. Click. just run in the office because I don't care what anyone has to say about it.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference,
Touch.
nor did it advance the story in any way.
I don't really care about the story. Honestly, sir, I just sat in the office and restarted and started doing what I want. Help. Can I type help? Is help an option? So I can climb on top of things. I'm gonna go climb on top of things.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No. Can I close it? I want to close it. I do what I want, mister.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Yes.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. You cannot tell me otherwise. Now I'm going to start talking to accent because you have one. Deep breaths. I'm not going to talk any accent. I'm going to talk any accent. This accent sounds cool.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Don't get a drink.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
3 different types of water. A lime soda, a Pepsi soda, grape soda.
Yes, really worth it being here in the room.
I think so.
A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
It's really tiny. Enhance. No, I don't feel like doing that, actually. I don't actually want to enhance anything.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Everyone's gone, so it's not creepy. Someone has to be there to deem it creepy. You know how the world works. You're just
Stanley
a
sat
voice.
around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Cumulative meeting of internal revenue analysis for committers of the Aurora revenue. That's just a lot of words. No girls. What do you mean no girls? I'm offended by that. How dare they? Alright.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
To just explore and get sidetracked and do side quests, huh? Narrator. Can I go to this door? I don't have a card. Why? Let's see. Do not jump from the cargo lift when it's in motion. Will cause death. Penalty for issue of cargo lift? $1,000? Seriously? They pay you? Do they pay people that much? Just like if they do misuse it, they can pay it off? Because I feel like they don't. Penalty for jumping off cargo lift. So that's $6,000. Well, I ain't got 6,000, but I'm okay with being fired.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Let's see what you got. Luckily, there's no door closing on the side like that. Keep that up. Keep up the good work. No closing doors. Did you just close the door? See, this is what the problem is. That makes me feel trapped, like I have no choice but to stick with my choice.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Or what? I can't even see what's in either doors. I just have to trust you, and you're not... I don't know if you notice, I'm not a very trustworthy person. I'm not going to trust the voice. There's narrating things. If there's anything I've learned from, like, reading sorry. No, thank you. Snow isn't good.
Aha! Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked... All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
Yes.
Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did.
Really,
And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far.
Let's make it an RPG.
Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
No.
There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
I'm not gonna like this at all.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices?
Sure.
Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh, of course. A 3.
3.
Really? Maybe next time we can get you to form an actual opinion, you know? Any level of critical thinking or engagement with your surroundings? Does that sound good? No. Think we can do that? Yes?
No. You can't just give me
Wonderful.
number choices and be mad when I pick the number
Here,
choice.
based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
You're the bad guy who seems good at first, but is bad in the end. He's the reason why everything bad is happening. Seriously? You added a leaderboard? Really? You're kidding, right? Good O'Neill, Skid, Nicho, Nacho, Vola, Hogar, Mr. Hayes. Oh no, I was reading. No. I mean, it's not last. I guess it is last. I feel like this game is more than 9,328 players, but whatever.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
You think you would have figured out by now that I don't want to play your game?
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
I can't.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable.
Goodbye.
Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Let's play. Really? Seriously?
Well, Stanley, is this any
Minecraft?
better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough?
I don't know.
Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
You should make for the you should make because you enjoy it.
This will go here. No, here. And then...
Out of joy, not trying to find someone else to get their attention. You should create because you enjoy it.
Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy.
Why can't I jump?
Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
You don't tell me what to do. I'm mad at you, Mr. Narrator. You brought me to Minecraft and won't let me jump. I'm gonna stare at dirt. Dirt, 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 all day long. Dirt, 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 dirt. This is my dirty song. It's about dirt. The brown stuff indeed. It's about dirt where you put all the seeds. Dirt, 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 all day long. Dirt, 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 dirt. I'm singing the dirt, dirt song. Dirt, 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 dirt. I'm running out of rhymes. Dirt, 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 dirt. I guess I'm out of time. Does rhyme actually rhyme with time? I'm gonna have to go into the house, right? I'd rather not, in all honesty. I hate you.
Isn't it grand?
No.
Isn't it perfect?
I just
It
want
could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond.
No,
Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
It's just such a waste of diamonds. Have you ever played in Minecraft?
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
It's called a torch. You of all people should know that. It's the British
Oh,
guy.
no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Alright. I am bored of you, Mr. Narrator. And I'm sick of you telling me what to do.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it.
This is Portal.
You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
No.
Oh, it's a puzzle.
Stand here.
Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
Are you kidding me?
Genius.
Boop, 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 boop. narrator as much as he annoys me.
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video game, you can just sit there and let it ball up inside you for all eternity. I don't need your advice. I don't need your ratings. And I certainly don't need the validation of a man whose job is to push buttons. I think I'll just go about my business, making meaningful cultural contributions to the world. And perhaps every now and then I'll think back to a man named Stanley who was objectively wrong in every decision he ever made. The thought won't last long. Goodbye, Stanley. Good luck with your work, and I sincerely hope that everyone lives happily ever after.
Goodbye, narrator! Bam! Ooh. So, I'm gonna fall off the edge if I'm not careful. I'll get a flash iron thing. That's an edge. It is so dark, I can't see anything. This is weird. Oh, Akila. So it begins. Click every door. Click every door. Let's go this way. What's that number of his office? 427. I am walking in circles, and I can't really tell. I am walking in circles. This is frickin' hell. I'm running out of rhymes. Yes, oh yes I am. I'm walking around in circles. I guess this is where it ends. Touch, 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 touch everything. Touch everything. Boop boop beep boop 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 beep boop. Okay, I'm bored now. Now what? Oh. Okay.
I wonder what he found.
Is it over?
If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice.
Yes, I am.
And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it.
I don't know what you're
He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him.
Nope.
He needs me.
No?
Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am.
We're gonna leave all right here, actually.
That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back.
Okay.
The end will be here soon.
Bye.
Very soon.
Bye.
I can wait.
I can't. Bye. We're just gonna stare at the black screen forever? The end is never the end, is ever end, and never end is loading, never the end. Oh look, we're back at the beginning. I want to try something.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing?
Really? That's narration you go for when people jump head in. Not the best.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
You didn't learn from the last game.
Wow,
Are you not self-aware?
yes,
Like sad
this
and
room.
undertone?
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I'm gonna try something.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Let's try something.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm
Jump on his
not.
moving truck.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Who's that?
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by... But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Why is that an ending? Why is it like an open door ender if you can't escape? Huh? Explain that to me. Well, guys, if you like this video, leave a like. Drop a comment about some of the endings you've seen and how I should get to them. And let's see, like, comment. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content. I'm gonna try to start uploading a bit more often and maybe once a week. I promise. That's Emmy. I promise. I'll let you know one thing. I try to keep my promises to the best of my capabilities, but if I can't, I can't. Life's hard. Dealing with stuff, I guess. But that's all for this time. See you guys in the next one.